Hey guys, this is Dagon123, and welcome to
Tenchicast!
Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting and very special episode of Tenchicast, presented by Tenchiforum.com. For those of you who are not in the know, for the first time ever, Matt Miller and Patria Burchard, Tenchi and Ryo-Ohki, were at a con in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, called Chibi Pa Sugides 2014. And naturally, Tenchiforum was there on the journey. And while you, at this point in time, can take a look at the videos that we have put up, including our panel, all of the panels that Matt and Patria were a part of, as well as Tenchiforum Takes Chibi Pa 2014, there are some stories that unfortunately were not told in those videos that you will be able to listen to here. And with me I have the entire Tenchiforum crew who was at Chibi Pa. Chuck.
Felicitations, comrades.
Crazed.
How's it going?
Pie.
You can't buy knowledge like that! Those notes were priceless! Ah!
Nil.
In another time, another culture, he may have been a seer, a shaman priest. In our world, he's a shoe salesman and lives among the shadows.
And who?
I'd like to dedicate this forthcoming cast to my main man, Daryl. What's up?
Well, we are going to just kind of discuss the adventures, discuss some of the things that went on, the jokes, the fun, all of the good stuff. So where do we begin, gentlemen?
We could do chronologically. I was going to say, though, and, you know, my apologies. You'll hear this often. I mentioned Daryl, and he was one of the, along with the Akira project, so it wasn't just, Matt and Patria was the big draw for us, obviously, Tenchiforum, but we met the rest of the guests as well, and they were all wonderful people, and it was wonderful to meet them. So we kind of had, I think we'll roll into that, kind of a what's become an inside joke with poor Daryl. We was, unfortunately, there was a point where Matt and Patria were sitting at their table, and we were kind of like, well, we're gonna go grab some food real quick, and they were like, oh, actually, we're not allowed to leave yet, but we're starving. Could you guys go grab us some? And we're like, yeah, sure, we'll do that for you. Well, we didn't realize, no one realized that, unfortunately, just at that precise moment, Mr. Daryl was not at his booth, and so he missed the food train, unfortunately. So we come back with all this food for Matt and Patria, and Daryl's like, oh, you went to get food? I'm starving. Like, I'm sorry, Daryl.
So yeah, this is not just like a random guy. Like, this is actually a relatively large voice actor. I think he was he the star in Blue Exorcist, or he had a main role in Blue Exorcist or something. So he's not just like this random guy. Like, we very unfortunately sort of shortchanged this big time voice actor on his own because we were out getting some food for Matt and Patria. So again, yes, I do apologize to you, Daryl, but you're awesome and we love you regardless.
Man, how do you think I feel? I was the one who carried the food in there.
Let's just preface this for the ladies and gentlemen listening that when we were going as Tenchi fans, we thought, Chibi Pa's gonna be a relatively small con, not a terrible amount of people. We're just going as fans, we'll record some stuff, we'll have a good time. When we're standing in line, alright, Patria walks by, and we're, oh my god, Patria. She starts walking towards us, and I wave to her, and the first thing that Patria does is hug me. Like, that was the very first thing, I've been friends with Patria. I've talked to Patria for a while now, but that was just kind of like the beginning of this con is going to be special. This con is not going to be like other cons. And as, we just heard, we went and got food for Matt and Patria. They knew we were very close to them throughout the entirety of the con, and it was just like, did that really just happen?
Oh, there was a lot of, did that just really happen that entire weekend?
It was very fun. I think, for me, I think the best place to start for talking about Chibi Pa has got to be the actual voyage there, and I think Dagon, you would probably be the best one to start about this, since you were the one who traveled the farthest, shall we say. But it was quite a journey, and it was a true privilege to share it with you guys. So why don't you start us on how you left and when you left for Chibi Pa?
You know, this is one of the few times in my life where I've actually kept a sleep schedule and been well rested for a trip. So that was kind of weird. But you know, I left at like 3 in the morning. I left Ohio and I started driving for Maryland. And it was just it was like I said, it was nice. The driving was fun. I mean, it was a bit long. I just want to tell the good people of West Virginia, keep your roads clear, because when you're going down like a 90-degree angle road or whatever degree angle road, and the only thing you could see on a road sign is "We don't go to Ravenholm anymore." I mean, 30 miles an hour. It's kind of like, I really hope I don't die. But it was an awesome journey. And then the first thing, I get into Maryland and I meet good Sir Nil.
Which was an interesting experience. I've only ever met a handful of people. Well, I guess only really one person that I've met online before, despite, you know, being a rather large online presence in multiple areas. It's just not really something that's kind of come up or gotten to happen. So I wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like I was super nervous. Like I know Dagon. I know all these guys really well. Even though I have it's not even my first full year here, and he's pulling up in my driveway, and it's just like, okay, this is real. Open the door. There's a certain weirdness about it. Like, okay, this is happening, and then Dagon just kind of comes in, get out of the cold. We sit down real quick. You know, we give a quick breather. I'm just like, so you wanna go to the bathroom at all? No. You want a cup of coffee? No. Want some food? No. And he just looks at me and goes, "You ready to go?" I'm like, "Yeah." Just back to the car. Just, you know, just like how we do things here online. Like it's very much touch and go, and you know, we didn't skip a beat the whole way through. Like as soon as we got in the car, it was just like any other day in Mumble. Just chatting, having a good fucking time, listening to some great music, just talking, getting excited about what was going to happen, talking about Tenchi, obviously, talking about, you know, things that were going to happen at the con, how much we couldn't wait to see certain people, because some of you guys have met before, but, you know, for Pi, like, that was the first time that he's gotten to meet everybody, and vice versa. Same with, Crazed as well, because he wasn't around for any of the previous ones as well. So it was like, damn, like this is for real. Like we're meeting everybody practically all at once here, and it was really exciting. And like it almost didn't feel real until he pulled up in my driveway, and then it was like, all right, this is it. It's Mumble, but you know, 1,000 miles long of Mumble.
Then we show up to Chuck's house or Chuck's apartment, and it's like, he's hidden. It's the numbers are saying that he should be here and he's not, and me and Neil walked around for like 5 minutes. It was like Harry Potter, like platform 9 3/4 or whatever. Like, where the hell is this place?
I still don't know what the hell your problem was. Like, it's clearly marked. It's clearly marked. Pavement leads right up to it. I don't know why you guys couldn't find it. I get a text message, "Oh yeah, we're here." It's like, okay, I'll go out and find you guys. I get out, you guys are like wandering around in the backyard, like totally lost. Like, what the hell are you guys doing all the way over there?
Your front porch looks like somebody else's back porch, Chuck.
Hey, they do it weird down here in Virginia.
There's no like doormat. There's no anything. So we turned and looked. We saw nothing. We looked right past the door because it's like tucked away in the corner. It's not very visible when you're standing where we were standing. So we weren't thinking, oh, there's obviously like. When we saw the apartments, we figured they were full size. So we didn't imagine that they were going to be like doubled back like that. So we saw that. It was like, okay, that's just somebody's backyard. No, that's actually the front door to Chuck's place, and we just walked straight past.
After that little adventure, I think you guys stayed at my place for a couple hours because I actually had to go to class. So like I left you guys all alone, unsupervised, with free access to my manga and anime collection. I still haven't found what volume you've burned for firewood yet, but regardless, it was a pretty successful thing. And then we hit the road for Crazed, and I did the driving for that leg, and that was pretty fun. Traffic was nice. And yeah, then we pull up to Craze at about like what 11:30 ish, and meet his wonderful family, and spent just a few hours dozing there, and then we headed off down to Florida, and that was Craze. So I think I'll turn it over to you to quickly tell us how that part of it went.
Back up a second here, Captain Kirk. You're forgetting a very important detail here, sir. How we're driving down the highway, and you've got the cruise control
Oh
off.
yeah, well I was hoping everyone would forget about that little misadventure.
Fucking hell, we would. Well, all we're doing is just driving around. Chuck's got the cruise control on, because, I mean, fuck, you need that for a trip this insane. And just... we have to hit the brakes. So Chuck kind of brakes a little bit so we don't crash into the cars in front of us, and then he clicks it, and it doesn't come on. It takes him a second to realize that the cruise control isn't there. He's like, what? And I look over, because I'm sitting in the passenger side. I turn to look, and I just see this panic look on his face. He's like sitting there slamming on the button on the frame of the turn of the steering wheel, and he's just like, no, why isn't it working? What the fuck? And we're just like, Chuck, what's up? He's like, the cruise control broke. Well, Chuck and his magical ability to break any and all technology has struck again. It is not... Hide your electronics, hide your cyber wives, your waifus. Don't let them anywhere near your cell phones and DSs, because he broke a car.
I don't understand. I do not understand how it happened. It's just one of those. I clicked that damn thing a million times, and it only came on like once in 1,000 miles. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's my curse, I guess. No matter what, I will break any technology that's placed before me. Anyway, Craze should continue the story from here on. Unless we want to continue mocking my technological deficiencies.
I mean, Crazed also has a bit of technological deficiency make fun of he can pick up on.
What did I do?
Not you.
Oh,
Chuck.
me again.
Oh, I was like, wait, what did I do? But yeah, you guys showed up at my house at almost midnight. Dagon looked like he was just about to fall over at any moment. And that was when I learned that he only got like 4 hours of sleep. And I was like, well, that explains things. And yeah, you guys came in, you ate, and you met the family, went downstairs, busted out some Tenchi art books, the If Dojins, and the other 2 Dojins. Looked at those for a little bit. We all just passed out, woke up at like 8 in the morning. And then we went to Bojangles to go eat. And after we got out of Bojangles... Wait, no, did you break the door before or after that?
I think it was as we were leaving Bojangles. And for Yanks like me out there, Bojangles is apparently this like breakfast chain in the South, and it's really nice. So if you're ever driving through Dixieland, I highly suggest stopping at Bojangles. Either that or Waffle House, because they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
We go talk about some Waffle House as we go on.
But yeah, Bojangles is a Southern style breakfast place that serves breakfast all day, every day. I mean, and I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, so there used to be a Carolina Panthers commercial when Jake Delhomme was the quarterback, where it was Jake Delhomme, Steve Smith in a General Lee, a Dodge Charger that might as well have been the General Lee with a giant chicken head on top of it, and they're eating Bojangles in basically the General Lee, and they're outrunning cops and jumping dirt mounds with it.
They fucking blew up a shack with footballs.
God, I love that commercial.
As I say, yeah, when we were actually no, is when we were going into Bojangles the first time, Chuck was sitting in the back, and he closed the door.
They're automatic doors for everyone out there.
Yeah, they're automatic doors. He went to click the automatic door and was like trying to move it, and then it just got stuck. And I'm thinking to myself, like, by the way, I was up for like 22 some odd hours, and I only got 4 hours of sleep that night, so I was already just like, all right, let's go. And then Chuck breaks the door, and I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, this is for real. This is the real life.
Sadly, that is also not the last technological breakdown that I had on that trip, but more on that later.
Oh, God. Yeah, the frustration in Dagon's voice when that door wouldn't shut was very real. But then when we left Bojangles, the on-ramp for 485 South was right there. And I was the one who had to drive the first 6 hours. And nobody told me that the cruise control was broken when we got on 485. So I go to turn the cruise control on, and I'm like, Dagon, something's wrong. Cruise control's not working. Oh yeah, Chuck broke that too.
Yep.
And then we just drove for 6 hours, just shooting the shit in the van, going down I-95 until we hit a TGI Fridays to stop and eat lunch down in Jacksonville. And I guess I'll give this back to you, Chuck, because you drove the rest of the way.
Well, I mean, if any of you listeners have ever driven 95 at any stretch south of DC, you've pretty much driven all of it. But the Florida stretch of it is particularly bland, and it's all along the coast the entire way, and it's just a straight shot. Like, there are no turns, and so it's a very boring drive. However, we were provided wonderful entertainment once we crossed into the realm of southern Florida via some billboards, and I think I'll turn it over to Nil. He can do it much better justice than I can, telling the stories of these entertaining billboards we saw.
Florida is a desolate place where souls go to die and people who are regular cry as they realize that they've entered the final layer of hell before they hit Cuba, at least. One of the things about Florida is that apparently they just don't really have much of shame. Like, once you get down to that part of the states, nobody cares anymore. Like, yeah, we're all pretty much counting down the days till we're done. I mean, you know. So we're driving down at 95. It's night. Well, it was kind of afternoon, night-ish. It was getting dark, and we started, conversation was winding down a little bit because everybody was getting that exhaustion. The road hypnosis was kicking in a little bit, so there's some lapses in discussion here and there. Started paying attention to the sides of the road a little more often. Some of these billboards, man. Very first one that caught our attention, that made us realize this is it. We're in Gator country. Just driving down the road, driving on I-5, doing like 80 miles an hour. Giant billboard, lit up like a motherfucker. One word on there, all capital letters. Vasectomy. A little phone number underneath of it. And we're just like, wait, did I really say that? Do we really have a billboard for a vasectomy clinic? Is that a thing? Or it's step one of no shame in Florida. Just fucking advertise our vasectomy clinic. Step number 2, driving a little bit further down the road, probably about an hour out from that billboard. Suddenly there's an animated one. And this one really catches our attention because it's animated. And it's got an erupting volcano, just beautifully animated, and this gigantic billboard hanging out the side of the road. So we're just looking at her like, ooh, that was kind of cool. I don't know what that one's going to be. It could be like a surf shop thing. So, Ron John's big down there. So they got their surf shop billboards for that. We're sitting there watching it as we're driving past it, and just out of nowhere, the words syphilis explosion slide in onto the frame as the volcano just erupts and just spews shit all over the place. And we're just like, dude, what? Another an STD clinic advertisement on billboards. Florida, ladies and gentlemen. We also came across a few ones that weren't quite as bombastic, but still hilarious. There's one that was a marijuana lovers conference. I don't really know how legal that one is, but it was a premier marijuana enthusiast panel somewhere in southern Florida. There were multiple ones for divorce lawyers that only handled the either male or female side of things. Like, it's like, dude. Yeah, I think a friend of mine put it best. He's like, South Florida is basically Vegas, but without the fame. Like, it is just it's a desolate place, man. And once we reach that, we kind of realize, like, that's it. We're in this part of the United States. Gotta hand it to you, Florida. You know how to entertain people when they're on the road, man. Damn.
One of the cooler things that was less mature, if one could so say, was we're driving, and I want to say it's either in Georgia or South Carolina. And there's a truck. Oh. And of course, naturally, we're all Space Dandy fans, and the thing just had Dandy right on the side of it. So we're like, oh, we gotta take a picture. But he's like moving up next to us, so, trying to angle that out of the van is just not working. So we start to move over, and we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna take a picture of it. What does he do? He moves back over.
That reminds me, I gotta get you a picture of that truck, because, yeah, that was awesome, seeing Dandy Trucking Company.
Yeah, because that was when I was driving. And you guys were like, oh, you got to move a lane over so we can get a picture. And as soon as I do, he changes lanes right where I was.
Damn it.
Well, you got to go with the flow, baby.
So after probably, what, for you, Dagon, it was about 40 hours on the road, we finally get down to Fort Lauderdale and just sit down and pretty much just crash in this hotel. I think we went down to the bar for a bit just to unwind, and then we really didn't do much. We just crashed and waited for the day to begin, and what a day it was.
Indeed, 9 states and 1,500 miles later, I made it to Florida. And then, of course, day 1, technically, of the con, Friday, started much like I said, with us seeing Patria and kind of leading things to a very, very positive start. And the Chibi, I'll just say this about the shirt in Fort Lauderdale: they need to get their shit together, because not just with guests, because we were on the preferred guest level and had no microwave or fridge, but the internet in that hotel was horrendous. So much so that they couldn't even work with the con to get their stuff set up. So they were supposed to start taking registration and pre-registration at 12 o'clock. We didn't start getting our stuff until like 1:30. And the funny thing about that was, there were so many people, the majority of the people hadn't even gone through the line, that pretty much everybody missed opening ceremonies.
Yeah, you guys were still down there when I got there.
Well, I think the best part about that is because I was the only one who had gotten my pass in the mail the week before. So when we learned that, yeah, we're going to be stuck here a while waiting on the con staff to get internet so people can get registered, you guys all had to wait in line, and I'm just standing there with my pass like, oh, I don't have to stand in this fucking line.
It turned out for the better, though, because as it so turned out, when we first got in line, there was a guy standing in front of us, and we took note that on the back of his backpack, he had the Nagi keychain, and we were just kind of like, ooh, this guy's a Tenchi fan. And he kind of heard us like mumbling behind him a bit about Tenchi stuff, so he kind of turned around and just like, he said something to us about the Nagi keychain or something about him, and we realized that he's got like a little Ryoko stuffed thing on his shoulder, like he just had it sitting up there. So we're just like, oh, this dude is a Tenchi fan, like holy shit. So we actually got to sit down and talk to this guy Michael for the entire time we were there, and he had so much stuff in his backpack, just all this Tenchi merch. He had a really, really beautiful Daughter of Darkness wall scroll. He had a same poster style or same design but with a different background poster version of the same thing. He had some other stuff in his backpack that he wanted to get signed. He's kind of like, I don't know what the limit is for signature things, but I kind of just brought as much as I thought I could pack in, because I couldn't choose what I wanted to get signed. he was excited, and it was good. It really helped us kind of get through things. It was nice to meet another fan like right on the ground floor as we were waiting for the day to start. Just getting to talk to the dude, getting to see all the stuff he brought, talking about all the different things. Telling him a bit about iTenchi, and just then. It was so great because I stood there and watched Betraya come from like out of nowhere, like a ghost, and just hug Dagon from behind. And it was just that moment, like we finally realized, boom, we're here. Like this is Chibi Pa now. This is where it really begins, and it was great to watch like everybody around us just kind of like back up and all like, oh my god, like some of them recognized her, and it's like, did she just give that dude a hug? Like people were realizing what was going on. It was one of those moments that I won't ever really be able to forget. Just the whole impact of her introduction and just sitting there talking with her. She could only stay for a little bit because she did have to go in the event that the opening ceremony started in time, which they didn't. And I didn't really know what to say at first. Everybody else was like, Chuck got a hug, and everybody was saying hi, and I just kind of stood there. I did not say a word. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to say here? So I was paralyzed. So I just sat there taking it all in, and that was like my first real feeling, like we're really here. Like this is actually going to happen, sort of thing. So I think despite the delays, that turned out way for the better overall.
Then we headed to. We kind of chilled out a little bit. We got to talk to Pi when he showed up, which was, of course, awesome. One more of the crew being there. And
Yeah, after you guys texted me saying you got a hug from Betraya, I'm still sitting at the airport waiting for a taxi, going, I'm missing the good stuff. Why? Torture me some more. Why don't you?
and we
Ooh, he
did.
wasn't even there yet.
Oh, no. I wasn't there for a while.
Yeah, he
I'm
didn't show up
glad.
for like 30 minutes after that happened.
So yeah, we should let's get to who. He's been left out of this conversation so far. So we sit down, we do some other stuff, and then later in the day, who gets there?
Well, actually, I just want to throw in one quick thing before we go to who. Again, bear in mind that even though Patria, we had that introduction to Patria, it was just kind of like you can't really think of it getting any better than that. Like that was just completely unprompted. That's how it was. Well, in the industry Q&A panel, they are talking with, Daryl, Matt, Patria, and Nova and On from the Akira Project. At the whole, they gave Matt, they're going through introductions, and when they get to Patria, we're sitting there, I'm recording. You can see this on the video, the industry Q&A panel on our channel. They get to Patria, and completely unprompted, Patria just says, hey, I want to give a shout out to our friends at Tenchiforum. They're the masters. They know everything. If you have any questions, you go to them. They're great people. And there's that moment where we all, I look over at Pi, Nil and Craze look over at me, I look at Chuck, and we're all just like, that just happened. That's gonna be a reoccurring theme in this podcast is, that just happened.
Indeed, many things just happened that cast.
That was that magical moment when everybody started realizing, oh my god, we're here. We just got Senpai noticed us.
That was pretty big because there wasn't a whole lot of people there, but there were. As you'll see in the video, if you haven't seen it yet, the majority of the questions for that Q&A were thrown at Matt and Petrea. They were undoubtedly the reason most people were there, and because of that, the gravity of the situation, how everybody was talking to them, and finally, we get the shout out, and it's all eyes are on us, and most of those people there were Tenchi fans there for Matt and Petrea, and that was like, damn, that's it, that's the one right there.
But yes, let's hand this off to Mr. Who.
Well, he didn't come for a little bit. We still have the, we got to meet a few other people on the way there. We got to meet Jessica and her husband Ryan, who are fans of Tenchi as well. Jessica's actually a artist, and she actually had a really nice picture that she handed off to Petrea. A piece of line art she did, and she did a custom frame with manga. They've apparently been, or at least Jessica has been a internet friend of the forums for a little while, so it was nice to get to meet those two. We also ran into a lot of people in line because before we got to meet Who, because Who was a little bit late on his plane. Well, just the way things turned out, we went ahead and started getting some stuff signed, right? And we were meeting so many people in the line there, and there was a lot of really cool people that we were getting to meet. One guy had like a bunch of figurines. He had like a rollout suitcase, like an airport luggage thing, just full of Tenchi figures and stuff that he had gotten signed. It was a really old school fan, had a lot of rare stuff. We met a lot of other people in line that day. There was the guy that handed Matt and Petrea the fucking GXP. Like, dude, what?
Yeah, that was silly. But no, the guy you're talking about had the complete McFarlane set. I've never seen it with my own eyes until that day. It was very impressive.
I think they were still mint in box, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Yeah, they were in real good condition. Like, holy shit.
Jesus, I mean, I have my McFarlane figures, but they're in storage right now. But of course, I popped them out and had them on my desk during my college years. And if I could only, now I start wishing that I could have brought them with me on the fucking plane.
Finally, time for Who?
Yeah, I mean, not much else happened. So, after that, let's transition. Who, you were at the airport while some of the early stuff was happening, but at long last, you're finally driving up, man.
Yeah, and then you had a complete set. At least I hope it felt something like that. So no, that was fun to hear in detail the journey you guys went through to get there. Because me, it was just pretty much just wake up really early and do the whole spiel with airports. It was not planned out well for me to where I'm pulling up. I had a layover flight, and I'm pulling up to the tarmac from the first flight, and boarding ended for the next flight. I'm looking at my clock. It's like boarding ends in 15 minutes from now, and I'm on the plane. I'm like, you're kidding me. So I had like 10 minutes. I booked it down. I think it was I can't remember. I think it was in Houston going on the way down. So like from gate E to C in 10 minutes. I'm just booking it and pushing little old ladies out of the way. Get out of my way. and it reminded me when Pi, I'm glad you were kind of the going ahead and got there before me, because I was so frustrated when I was there. I made it. I was in Florida. Oh, I felt it, humid. I was there. I stepped off the plane. Finally, I made it, and I know the hotel's not far away. And so I'm waiting for that complimentary shuttle, and I called them like 3 times, and they're like, "Oh, it's on its way." And I see literally every hotel chain you can think of in the United States shuttle go by again and again and again, and I'm just like, except for Sheraton, and I waited an hour. I'm not even kidding. It was literally like an hour, and I'm just like, am I not in the right spot? Is it gonna come here? And I get a text, Tria's here. Oh my God. I'm like, well, why? And so Pi was telling him, I think I was texting Dagon and Pi said by way of Dagon, Dagon was like, don't worry, man. You're going to get there. I know. Pi said he went through the same thing, so just hang in there. And so finally that shuttle came, and hats off to the guy driving this shuttle, because this probably wasn't quote unquote legal, but we stuffed people into this thing like sardines. Like, people were standing up where signs clearly indicated no standing while the thing is moving. We had people packed in there, and I make it to the hotel, and it was like I was on clouds, because everything was stressed up to that point, and you got to find your gate. You get with flying, and I don't like flying in general, but the flights were good to me, so I guess I can't say I have anything against flying, because it's been good to me so far. So let's keep it that way, flying, okay? Anyway, I get there, and it was so surreal, because it was great that I've via Otakon, as you've seen you can see the videos of gotten to meet Dagon and Chuck in real life before, and so it was great to see him again. It was great to meet Nil, Crazed, and Pi for the first time, and just for some reason it was just like, I guess it was because I was so dang tired, probably, but it was kind of like I've been buddies with these guys for a long time. It's just that now it happens to be that I don't have to push to talk. Right away, I was like, yes, this is great. I'm hugging everybody, and it was nice that you guys were all kind of, you had time to get situated, and you were all signed in, ready to go. So I had these 5 guys waiting for me in front of the hotel, saying like, hey, who can I get your bag for you? Who? And like, right this way, sir. Here's the registration line. Here's what you do. And Chuck helped me with that, and Dagon was helping me, and yada yada. And then and I'm like, it's just so great to be here, guys. I'm just I'm exhausted, but I couldn't be happier. And I'm thinking, I made it safe. Thank God, everyone made it safe here. Can't get better. Well, it did. Dagon and Nil and company, I can't even remember. It was just voices. I was just on clouds, and people were like, hey, why don't you come over here? Come here. Somebody else is waiting for you. I'm like, well, you all are here. What? Okay, let's go. And he's like, it's time. And we I walk through the dealer's room and over, and I see them at their own table. And there's Matt and Patria, and it's surreal. Because apart from me being, so gosh darn tired, I guess, I'm like, am I dreaming right now? Is this really happening? I'm surrounded by my friends, and I'm seeing them. And it gets even crazier, because instead of, I've had a few times I've gone to cons where, you go meet, you try to meet the guest, and you just go up and you're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so, it's so nice to meet you, and all that. And I was going to do that with Patria, but she beat me to it. So she's sitting at her table, and she sees the company Tenchiforum leading me over, and she looks at me, and she gets up out of her chair, and she comes over, and she throws her arms around me and says, oh, John, I'm so glad you made it. It's great to meet you in person finally, and thanks for coming. And I'm just like, I'm just too stunned and too happy for words for the longest time. I'm just like, is this really happening? So, as been previously mentioned, yes, that was a theme for us all throughout this convention, because you know, this was special, and we fully understand. Like, I'm sorry, Pi, if this was your first one. They're not all like this. This was something special, and so from there, you know, we're chatting with them because they weren't there. You know, they didn't have a long line of people signing at this point, so we got to just chat. Got to talk with Matt, and then we get down to we do some pictures. We got those pictures posted up, and we're just shooting the breeze, and so yeah, it was so surreal. And then after that wore down, I guess that's when we can get into that story a little bit. That's when it happened, and also, yeah, hats off again to Daryl, because you know, and again, he's an accomplished actor, and he's been recently in contemporary anime, and so, you know, he is, by all means, you know, he's got star power. It's just, you know, we're Tenchi fans, we're old school fans, so we were all kind of just ignorant of that, and so we apologize for that, Daryl. But we all got in a line to where, in Matt and Patria included, we got in a line so we could take the picture, and Daryl took the picture for us. I remember him taking one for us, and so thank you, Daryl, and appreciate that. And then that's where we go on, and I'll hand it over to somebody else, maybe Dagon here, where we're you know, we were gonna go on the food run. We were hungry, and Matt and Patria put in their order with us, so we're like, yeah, we'll be your delivery boys, absolutely, we'll do that for you. But I remember just after everything had died down, like the shock, like, I mean, it didn't die down, but I just kind of recuperated. Oh my god, we just were talking with Matt and Patria like we were neighbors or something. It was just great to we all, you know, because I flew there, I didn't get to be on the road trip part, so it was great just all of us being together. You know, just the boys were in town, and we got to all pile in and explore a little bit of Fort Lauderdale, track down some food, and I believe we found ourselves at a TGI Fridays. I'll pass it from there.
I think Neil should take this one because we had a pretty fun conversation with a waitress at this TGI Fridays, trying to find a booze joint.
Continuing our Florida doesn't give a fuck about anything escapades, while we're at the TGI Fridays, we come up with the idea. Well, shit, you know, there's no alcohol. We can get like drinks in the lobby at the hotel, but no, we want something to bring back to the room so we can just hang out and get away from everybody else. So we came up with the idea that we would do 50-50 split. You know, we'd make sure that there was enough money with the people staying behind at the TGI Fridays who would wait, get the food, pay for the food, and then, you know, the other part of us would head out to find a liquor store and pick up some sake, because we figured, shit, it's Ryoko's drink of choice. We're here for Tenchi. We're at an anime convention. Let's do it. Like, let's get some Asian alcohol in this thing. Let's just do this thing. So, you know, we're trying to figure out where we're gonna go exactly, and the waitress kind of overhears what's going on. She's like, you know, why don't you guys just get drinks here? And we're like, no, we're leaving. You know, we're gonna go to back to the hotel. You know, we need something we can take back there. We're thinking about picking something up. And she just kind of looks at us real weird, just goes, because we asked her, like, do you know of any places? Do you know of any liquor stores around here? Because at the time we were kind of like, you know, fiddling with our cell phones, like, shit, where's a good liquor store around here? Figuring, you know, maybe she'd know a good place. She just kind of goes, why don't you guys just go to Kmart? And we're just like, what? No. So we're sitting here with this look of complete disbelief on her face. Is like, okay, hang on, no, wait, Kmart? Did you say Kmart? And she gets a little confused, and she's like, how old are you guys? We're like, no. Age isn't the problem so much as it is we're not from around here. Most of us are from directly up north, and those Kmarts don't have liquor stores. Kmarts are just, you know, a place you get clothes and some occasional food. Some, you know, it's a drugstore, but it's not a liquor store. They don't have that up here. And she just looks at us, just goes, shit, that's all we do down here is drink. And we're just like, oh my god, Florida just does not care. Once you're down there, I mean, that's it. All there's left to do is just to pickle yourself and fry it in the sun. So yeah, we split up, did half and half. We ended up not being able to find any sake, any places that had sake and stock in the immediate vicinity, and we were already wasting a lot of time. So the liquor run half of us shot back to TGI Fridays, picked everybody up, and then we dropped them off at the hotel. They went to go drop off Matt and Petraeus' food and had the Daryl moment happen to them, while the rest of us continued, as I had found a place while we were on the road that supposedly was very well stocked and had all manner of liquors and stuff. And turns out, well, they didn't really have any sake. But we did get some pretty amazing Japanese whiskey, the Yamazaki 12, which we'll go into that one a little bit. But it wasn't a total bust. But Florida and its alcohol, there are millions of liquor stores, and somehow not a single one of them had any sake. For shame, you're by an anime convention. What's wrong with y'all?
Pi, why don't you tell us about the liquor we bought?
It was a Yamazaki 12 year. We were looking all over this liquor store trying to find out if they had any sake, because supposedly they had sake. We talked to the guys, and apparently they had no sake to be found. They tried to pawn us off on, what was it, peach wine or something?
Plum wine. Fuck
Plum
that
wine.
shit.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Tenchi has Momo as his lead character, peaches. So I was thinking plum, peaches, wine. No, we need something harder than this. So we just thumbed through their collection of liquors, which they had some good stuff here and there. They had my drink of choice. So choice. But again, we had a theme today, which was we were going to go Japanese liquor. We're at an anime convention. We're here for Tenchi. We just met Petrea. We were freaking out. We freaking out, man. So we needed something good for this. So we need something choice. So we look around, and eventually we find these. There was a Yamazaki 12 year, but then they have the 18 year there too.
Yeah, they had 18.
Yeah, it was like $120.
Yeah, and I was debating myself. Finally, we settled on the 12 year, and we got that and boxed it up, and we took it back to the hotel.
I actually found out that 12 year tends to go for around $80. 18 year goes for $250 on average.
God
And
damn.
Jesus.
They have a tier above that, the 25-year Yamazaki, their oldest regular vintage that they have. That bottle retails for $1,000.
Nope.
Wow.
It sounds delicious though. Like I sat there, my mouth watering every second of it. I mean, here's the thing though. The 12-year is incredible. For our liquor fans out there, if you have the opportunity, I would highly recommend it. It has incredible body. It has an immense amount of flavor. It tastes like it should be $100 more than it really is. It is an intense brew, which we'll talk about in a bit. But it tastes nice in the glass. It's very heavenly. It's got a beautiful, just fantastic bouquet aroma.
Amazing aftertaste.
Yeah, it was smooth as silk. I would probably be more drunk than Chuck was if that bottle was left just to me.
Yeah, more on that later.
I think we're getting to later because I'm trying to remember what all we did.
Please briefly tell us about Daryl.
We get the food, and it's me and Crazed who go in there first because we're carrying all the food. And we got food for Matt and Petrea and Matt's wife. And we get it all down there. It's perfect. It's just the way they wanted it. And, Petrea would tell us later that, Matt was just talking about TGI Friday's good burger that he had there before we got it. So it was perfect. And we walk in, and Daryl's there. And, of course, Daryl's looking at us. And, he does the thing where it's like, oh, where's my food? And we were like, oh, I'm so sorry, Daryl. And we really did feel bad about it because here we are walking in with, like, 2 bags of food for Matt and Petrea. And Daryl's just like, and this is where the joke comes from. And I said this to everybody, we're giving them food. And he's just like, I'm Daryl. And so that became a reoccurring joke and theme throughout the con. But after that, we headed back up to the room.
For a very educational experience.
Oh, education.
So educational.
My queen!
Yes, for those of you who recognize the quotes, we did indeed watch Golden Boy, a true gem of the 1990s.
Some of us haven't. Some of y'all haven't seen it, which amazed me. I mean, I watched the whole thing way back in like 8th grade. It was definitely something to go back through that one again. But man, it's just stupid funny. It was probably one of the best decisions we could have made for something to sit down and watch together that night.
No kidding. That was my virgin viewing of it. I had no idea. I heard a little bit about it before. But my God, Doug Smith makes that. I mean, if you ever want, like, if somebody ever said, somebody ever talking like, oh, like, dubs are crap, like, whip out Golden Boy. I mean, oh my God. And strangely enough, like, that was the perfect thing for us to do because we all went back to the room and it was just this way to unwind because you know, there's the stress of getting there, and meeting and talking with Patria and Matt. It was great, and fetching him some food and all. It was all great stuff, but like that was just the perfect way to unwind, because you know that's a big thing. You're like, oh my god, I'm meeting Matt and Patria, and oh my god, and all this and stuff. This was just like, it was as if we all lived on the same floor in a dorm or something, and we were just getting together for another Friday night of, hey boys, let's watch something. Let's bust out the good whiskey. What do you guys want to watch? Let's watch Golden Boy tonight. And that was one of the most fun things I've ever done. Period, guys. I mean, that was so much fun.
Yeah, seconded, because I hadn't really sat down and watched anime with someone since I was in college, which was 2002, and Golden Boy was actually introduced to me during my time at my first university when I got my bachelor's degree, and to watch it with you guys and just sit back, sip on some whiskey, munch on TGI Fridays the entire time, goddamn, that was good shit. I'd do that again in a heartbeat.
The one exception to that was we all watched and got through Golden Boy, but about 4 episodes through Golden Boy, somebody was gone.
Yeah, I was
Chuck.
I was enjoying the whiskey a bit too much, so I don't remember too much after that. But apparently, I was making lots of Space Battleship Yamato references, which sounds like me.
It's not really any different than normal.
We're
It's a lot
sitting
more
there,
peppy.
and we're sitting there, and I don't remember if it was who or Pi that had said, or maybe this was after the fact, but I just remember somebody saying, what, who has the bottle? Chuck has the bottle. And everybody else had kind of gotten through too, and they were kind of like, oh, okay, you know, they're feeling it. And Chuck's like 3, 4, and it was just like, Chuck's, and as much as we make fun of him for it, that's exactly what it was. It was, hey guys, you know that bicycle? Bicycles were invented by Space Battleship Yamato.
There was actually an episode where he mentions the sinking of the Yamato. I think it was episode 4 with the swimsuit, with the swimming
Because
episode.
they mentioned my ass, they show it on screen.
And then after Golden Boy finished, we decided to, you know, start up the first or second episode of Ava, because Who had not seen it, and Chuck was gone. Like Like every time a cross would pop up, he'd wave his hand and say, symbolism!
And just to put things in perspective, I had 2 glasses at that point, and I mean the beautiful part about the Yamazaki 12 is that it starts off making you feel really good, like it is a clean, heavenly buzz,
And then it hits
then
you like an 18-wheeler.
it fucking does. Like it's, oh my god, it fucking destroyed me. Well, it didn't destroy me, but it was starting to feel it. So like I was leaning back in my pillow, like, all right, buckle up, we're going in for the ride. Like as soon as we got about 5 minutes into the first Ava episode, I was starting to feel that motherfucker. It was great though, like it felt fantastic. So if I only had 2 and Chuck had 4 and finished pies, I just imagine the kind of hell that he was going through at that point.
Now the reason that we all bring up Chuck being drunk like this, and you know, the Yamazaki 12, is we all say our good nights. We get ready to go to bed after the second episode of Ava, and we're all, you know, we've got the room set up in this really weird setup, and Chuck is sleeping on the floor on an air mattress, and I'm a really light sleeper. Like somebody can snap their fingers in the room and I'm up, and all I remember is Chuck getting up and going to the bathroom, and I'm sitting and I'm laying there. I'm like, oh, you know, I'm just laying there because it's like whatever, it's the next day, and I hear the toilet flush 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then I hear like a sloshing sound, and I'll never forget this, because whenever you say something, you know, you hear somebody say it usually in a jovial manner, or in a manner that's much more positive. This was the first time I've ever heard, you know, this was true disgust. I hear fuck, shit, fuck, and at this point,
Yeah, so for those not paying attention, I was in there splashing some cold water on my face because the room was spinning. And I was getting a bit nauseous, and I was like, okay, I need to go to bed now. So I get in there, I go to the bathroom, I get ready to get back out, and freaking toilet clogs. Like again, my wonderful technological deficiencies. Everything I touch breaks, and that does not even include electronics. Apparently, it includes toilets. and so toilet clogs, and I'm in there, like dead to the world, trying to fix this damn thing. So I'm flushing it every once in a while, trying to, and eventually the whole thing just like says nope, and water all over the floor, and so I'm just so pissed because I'm barely alive at this point. I just want to go to bed. I want to sleep this thing off. And water all over the floor, so I'm losing it, and eventually I just give up and just walk out, and just angry at everything. It was just so funny, apparently, afterwards, after the fact. It wasn't funny at the time for me, but I'm glad I was able to entertain everyone else in the room.
And I know that Crazed actually had said something to Chuck when he was going back to lay on the ground, and Chuck just completely ignored him. He's just like, fuck this, I'm going back to bed.
That's the kicker, is apparently, now I'm hearing, in hindsight, going, interesting, the way no one told, there's the chain of communication. No one told Craze that the cruise control is broke, because I like patiently wait my turn in the morning wondering what the holdup is, you know, but I'm like, okay, whatever, that's fine. But, you know, that was the issue. So I finally go in there, I'm like, okay, and, you know, just walking in, not looking, and I'm wearing my sweats or whatever I was sleeping in, and it's just splosh, and I'm like, guys, the toilet's overflow, and like Dagon and Crazed and Chuck, everyone was like, oh yeah, the toilet's clogged. I was just like, the toilet's clogged. Everyone knew it, but nobody passed that on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I actually said something to you, but you still had your earplugs in. I said, who are you going to the bathroom? And you just got up and walked in anyway. I said, well, he's going to figure it out in 2 seconds when he steps on the floor.
Earplugs. Oh, man. This is the first I knew. I didn't know that. Well, they work. They work. I didn't hear a damn thing.
But, man, that was so great when I woke up. Because I woke up just after fuck happened, so I didn't know what was going on. I wake up, I'm the closest one to the bathroom door, so I wake up, first thing I see is Chuck with a pissed off look on his face at the foot of the bed where he had just come out of the bathroom. I'm like, Chuck, what happens? Everything okay? He does not even look at me, just walks right by me and gets back on that air mattress and throws everything over top of his head.
The world was crashing in on me at that point. I had no time for frivolity.
And then pretty much at that point, me and Crazed went downstairs, got a hold of housekeeping, and at that point, I just said, well, guys, I'm going down and getting breakfast. And then that's what I did.
I think we did as well. I think it was Neil and Crazed, I recall. We caught up with you, Dagon, and we actually put on pretty nice breakfast/brunch. It was nice, and if I'm not skipping too far ahead, anyone can fill in with their own. But I recall, went back up, and it's kind of like you guys were doing something. And I was like, I want to, see how Chuck's doing. He was, partying hard last night, and so what a trooper. That would have put me out for the day, which is why I had to restrain myself from the night before. But Chuck gets up and around, about a little after noon, after lunchtime, and I'm like, I'm not even thinking what time it is. I'm like, hang in there, buddy. I'm like, let's go get you. They got a good breakfast downstairs. Let's go downstairs. And so it was me, Pi, and Chuck. Chuck's like, okay, all right, and we go down, and unfortunately, it's like then I look at my clock. It's like 1 o'clock, and it's like, oh yeah, they've closed the breakfast down. Darn it. Well.
Yeah, I was at breakfast actually, so I think you might have been with someone else.
I thought you came with.
It's just you and me,
really?
man.
Oh, okay. I apologize. Yep. I apologize because I had eaten as well, but I was just like, oh, I'll go with you, Chuck. And so that was the first point I remember, is where this started. This is where it started getting, where yet again I'm like, oh, this couldn't get better. Well, it did in a weird way, but it's weird because I've never had it before, but it was awesome. So we go to this thing and we're starstruck, like, oh my God, man, Patria here, oh my God. Being the raving fangirls that we are, right? So me and Chuck are down there, and I remember this was cosplayer Rachel, fantastic Ryo cosplay. So her and her hubby was Dandy. Had a rockin' pompadour. It was awesome. But anyway, so we walked by and we were like in our shirts and stuff, and she turns around and like looks at us and she's like, "Are you guys are the Tenchicast?" And I'm just like, I guess we are. And so she goes on to say like, "Oh, you guys, I've listened to your cast for a long time. I've listened to them all, and I listen to them when I'm at work. And you guys, it's great stuff. I love listening to it. Thanks for doing that, you guys. And I'm such a huge fan. And I just had this overwhelming moment, like Yosha. That's the best compliment I've ever had. I'm like, people do listen. I mean, on the internet with, subscriber counts and some comments, and we appreciate it over the years. We sincerely do. But this just, slapped me in the face. Like, this is real, like there's obviously there's fellow fans, and there's people that enjoy what we do and appreciate it, and that meant the world to me. And so we took pictures of her cosplay, we were chatting, we were talking, hugged. She's about the nicest person you'll ever meet. So that was where, and that was basically like the start of my day 2. And the first night I wasn't even there for the full day. It was just I had come in during the night. So at this point I'm just thinking, are you kidding me? This is like the best thing. This is like the best weekend ever.
Yeah, we got to meet her as well. She came upstairs shortly after she ran into you guys, and she got to meet the other half of the Tenchicast. Great to meet, by the way. I was very glad that we got to run into you there. And yeah, it was just that was kind of that moment. Like, we know people listen, we know people appreciate, but that was the first time where it really hit us. Like, we're being recognized as the Tenchicast people. Like, people know who we are. I've never had something like that before, so that was kind of weird. Like, oh my god.
That became a recurring theme too, because every time, just about every panel that everyone attended, or that some contingent of Tenchiforum attended, someone would point over. It's like, there's the Tenchi guys over there, and especially it was pointed every time were on one of Matter Portrea's panels. They did the same thing. They said, "There's the Tenchi guys right over there, and they do this, that, and the other." And I'm like, oh my.
I mean, it's hard to explain to people. We can say it, but to truly get that kind of feeling that you have, we were basically mini celebrities there. Most everybody on the staff knew who we were. The guests especially knew who we were, and we'll get to that, a little bit more as we're talking. But it was surreal, because there was somebody who we met, and I don't remember this person's name, but if you like us on Facebook, sir, obviously you follow the podcast. He came up to us and was saying, like, hey, I love this this particular podcast episode you did, and was saying a few lines from it. We talked with him, and it was just like, it was surreal.
Yeah, to have someone actually come up to me at a con and like literally quote a line that I had said in a Tenchicast was an unreal moment. It's like, I've just been quoted by a fan.
Well, that's probably what it felt like for Matt and Petrea as well, because one thing Matt and Petrea mentioned in at least one of the panels, maybe two of their panels, is that, again, they went in the booth, did the lines, and that's all they saw. Typically they were in the booth by themselves, except for that first OVA episode where Matt and Petrea tried to do it together, and it was a train wreck, so they did it separately. Matt even said that he doesn't remember many of the lines he did, but he remembers that one line, "Ryoko, it's for you!" And everyone, of course, squeed the minute he did that. But it's probably the same thing. I mean, someone will walk up to Matt and probably quote something he did from one of the films, and Matt's go like, "Yeah, I probably did that."
So our original plan, when we had, when Who and Craze, and I mean, really, we had all had the plan, but when they had confronted Matt and Petrea, the idea was to, hey, say, we'll buy you a drink. Why don't you? We're going out to dinner. We wanted to go out to a sushi place, keep it in theme with an anime convention, and we'll take you guys out. We'll have a good time. And before we could do that, we had a panel, obviously, as you can also see on the YouTube channel. It was a panel about what you don't know in Tenchimuyo, and again, going into this panel, we thought, oh, okay, we're going to talk about some cool things. We showed people and as you'll see, everybody loved it. Everybody loved Tenchimuyo, and we talked about the Tokyo Omake special, which again, everybody loved. That video and that panel was a phenomenal success, but one of the coolest parts about that was the Hasegawa part of it, and I'll let Neil take over for that one.
So for those in the audience who are unaware, we do the translation things here at Tenchiforum. When I got here, I discovered for the first time ever that there were a series of Tenchi light novels at all. and that only a handful of them had been basically summarized in long form. And there was a whole collection of them written by Naoko Hasegawa, who was the script writer for OVA 1, that had never been translated at all. And I thought this was wrong. You know, I love books, I love reading, I love writing, and I this didn't make any sense to me. I was like, okay, these there's a lot of them. There's 13 of these things, one of which was based off of Daughter, or what would eventually become Daughter of Darkness. It was the other way around. She wrote the novel first, and then it became the movie Daughter of Darkness. It was basically like, yes, like I need to know what these things say. Started this crazy project to figure, you know what, let's do this. Let's get some people together and do it. Eventually, we did actually bear fruit with the first novel that she published in 1993 called Hexagram of Love. And we had originally put it out in summer of this year. You can go and check out the version that's currently available right now. I'm currently working on redoing the novel to address some of the concerns that were expressed. Some people did enjoy it, and I'm glad everybody who did enjoy it has. But some people thought that it could be a little more polished, and I agree completely. So I set upon the task of rewriting things. And as it so happened, I threw out the idea of, hey, what if I take a segment that I've rewritten and give it to Matt and Petrea and have them read it aloud at our panel in character? And we thought, shit, can't hurt to ask. So I cut out a part of the book that only featured those two and rewrote it and went a little overboard. I ended up doing 4 printed pages of text. But, you know, I was just so excited. Like, you know, Craze and I had destroyed ourselves trying to get this thing done. You know, it had already been talked about. Our work was featured on the Did You Know Anime Tenchi Muyo episode, which Petrea also had been contacted to help for, which was really nice to have her talk about it then. But to have her actually read something from the novel aloud was, you know, that was next level of the dream. And of course, having Matt in there as Tenchi himself was, you know, extra to add to make it even crazier. So we handed it to them. You know, we explained obviously what we wanted to do, and you know, they were interested. So we handed them copies of the script that we printed out just moments before we hit the road, and you know, they were down for it. So when we were at the panel, we did a brief, you know, small little part of the panel was talking about the novels, that we're translating them, what their significance is to the fandom, which is to say rather huge. And then we had Matt Miller and Petrea Burchard take the stage like inches away from me. I was trying really hard not to just like explode with giddiness here, reading parts of this novel. Now, they only read the dialogue parts, so it kind of ended up sounding dirtier than the scene intended, but it made it funny. Like, they played it off really well, and the audience loved it. But it gave people what they wanted to hear, a very intense, somewhat romantically inclined moment between Tenchi and Ryoko, and Nat and Petrea play it off very well. They hop into their characters like it's nothing. But there was that fun fact that they have never performed together in public as their characters, and they only ever performed together in the studio once, and it was considered a failure, and they had to redo it in separate booths. So we had a groundbreaking moment for the English side of the fandom there. And you know, I don't know how Craze feels about it, but I get a little flustered when I think, like, yeah, holy shit, our work actually resulted in that. That's crazy, man.
It's like we said earlier in this podcast, that just happened. You know, to have the novel translation brought up in that Did You Know Anime video, and have Petrea narrate it, her talk about what we did, that was just amazing. I'd never thought that would have happened. And me and Neil had, like he said, we'd made the joke before about, man, what if we could get them to narrate some of this? And then when we found out about Chibi Pa and them two being together, we're like, okay, we got to make this happen. And then it did happen. Matt and Petrea reading as Tenchi and Ryoko, reading from the novel that we had translated for weeks on end. It would. I get the warm fuzzies every time I think about it. I know that.
Start feeling the vapors.
And it's also interesting to note, and this is something you'll also see in the video, is at one point during the panel, my camera died because unfortunately, I was recording stuff back to back that day, and I did not have time to charge it. So at one point, Pi actually gave the camera to Patria. So Patria is recording our panel at some point, which you'll see in the video, and it's just again the theme of, did this really just happen? That panel went fantastic. People were into it. They asked us questions. When we got done, everybody was, asked, oh my God, you're this, you're that. We want to help you with this. I have this cool song. There was a guy who did a great Daughter of Darkness song. And then we presented Matt and Patria with the wood burnings that I had made from my friend who does something. Is very gifted at doing that. He's at Plasma Pyrography .weebly.com. I'll throw in a link. And they were ecstatic about that. And Matt would end up carrying that around for the rest of the panel or the rest of the con. And it was unreal. It was unreal. But that's only the panel. So now to kind of get back to what we were talking about before with dinner, we're all on cloud nine. This panel, comparing this panel to our first panel is like comparing The Room to The Godfather. It was unreal. So we go down and we're like, all right, let's see. We want to go to a sushi joint. Let's see if we can get, Matt and Patria. Because the first time we had done it, that's when we got them TGI Friday, because there was a little bit of miscommunication. Well, Matt and his wife and Daryl, they kind of just wanted to, I'm Daryl, they kind of just wanted to, just stay at the bar. They just wanted to get drinks. And then, of course, we extended the opening to On and Nova from the Akira Project, and they kind of just wanted drinks. But Patria was all on board. So we have to scramble, because the place that we got originally found was called Hayashi's, which, of course, if you're a Tenchi fan, hardcore fan, Hiroki Hayashi's, you have to go there. Unfortunately, that was an hour away, so we scrambled to find a sushi place that would be good and we could get to quickly. And we're trying to think of the logistics of cabs, and then it ends up that Patria is the only one who wanted to go with us. And so we're talking to Patria, and we're like, well, maybe we're not sure how much cab fare is. We can help pay for cab fare. She's like, well, what did you guys drive down in? Like, well, we drove down in a van. She's like, I'm sure it can fit one more. Holy crap, Patria Burchard is driving with us and is going with us to this place, which Sake Thai and Sushi in Hollywood, Florida. Place looks like crap on the outside, but on the inside, amazing. Amazing sushi Thai and all around Japanese place. It was phenomenal. But it gets even better. So we're sitting in there, and we all decide we want some sake. So we get some sake, but then me and Chuck are like, well, Chuck, maybe we're gonna share the sushi boat. And then we're trying to figure out what everybody else wants. We're like, oh well, maybe we'll get boat number 2, which is a little bit bigger. We end up getting everybody, all of us, minus Patria, we get this gigantic $100 sushi boat. This thing is literally a boat that they built and put in the middle of the table.
Oh, that sucker sailed in with sushi, all right.
It literally, but what gets even better is we're sitting down and we're talking, we're having a good time, everybody's drinking. On and Nova from the Akira Project show up and are like, hey, we decided to come and have a good time, and those guys were awesome. Nova and On are the coolest people, and it was just like the party was hopping, and we had lots of fantastic discussion. But I'll let somebody else talk about their experience at the dinner.
I'll just say this, but lead up to it, and then let people have at it. Because, like you said, it was multiple conversations, and it was popping. It was great. We had a great time, great food. I just had a crazy moment because I went back and I don't remember why, but just for goose and giggles, like the other day, I went back and I watched our video, Tenchi Takes Otakon, and we're in the car. And we make the joke at some point because we got a GPS, and of course, as anyone knows with those GPS, you often have you have some smooth talking lady voice telling you in 1.3 miles turn right, and we're like, and somehow we're like, oh, if so and so did it, oh, if so and so, and then we're like, hey, What if Patria did that? Wouldn't that be awesome? We're like, and we had a great laugh about it. Flash forward a year. There's no way, if I were to tell myself back in time, there's no way I would have believed myself, even if I saw myself time traveling. Wouldn't believe myself. Like, this time on the way there, we're making jokes and stuff. Can't remember everything that was said, but one of them was with the GPS. And Patria we make the joke like, "Hey, have you ever thought of doing this?" Or, like, she had brought up, she's like, that's I would imagine that'd be a pretty good gig. I mean, what do you guys think? We're like. We're wondering, do we tell her we've actually thought about this in the past? Like, you have no idea, but we were just like, yeah, I suppose I could see you doing that. Not that I've thought about that before.
It's hard to just completely wrap your mind around it, as, again, the theme was, did that just happen? Because we went from going just as a fan group to, we took literally half the guests of Chibi Pa out to dinner, and everybody had a phenomenal time drinking, eating good food. And of course, as you can see on the Facebook, the picture that we all took, it was unreal.
Oh, the food was delicious. The sake as well. There was a little bit of a story with the sake as well. They had several different brands of sake, which, considering the fact that we botched being able to get sake on Friday night, we were determined we were going to get sake on Saturday night, and we certainly did. Eventually, we settled on the Mu sake, which Mu is the same character that is listed in Tenchimuyo. So we had the Mu sake, and it was divine as well. It definitely didn't hit you as hard as the whiskey did the previous night, but it was just a smooth, tasted really nice. It was a chilled sake as opposed to a warm sake, which is a difference for me. Most of the sake I've ever had has been warm.
I put you on to some of that hot Ozeke sake. It wasn't too bad, was it, Graves?
It wasn't too bad. Pretty decent. Yeah, but that was the first time I had ever had sake before, and who had gotten some of the hot sake, and everybody else had gotten the cold, and I got to try a little of both. And after trying both, I think I do prefer the hot to the cold.
Yes.
And we're all winding down, or not necessarily winding down, but things start to get a little bit serious, and to have the night kind of capstoned by Ryo-Ohki herself asking you, what about Tenchimuyo? Like, why Tenchimuyo? What was so special about it? It's just like, we can sit here and we can talk about a lot of different things and about the journey and everything, but it's moments like that go from being just like a really cool experience that you had to, in my personal opinion, don't know how sappy everybody else is going to get, but that was something that, like, personally defined my life. Like, this was something that I started doing 5 years ago, and to get to this point is just like, I would have it's like, who said, like, if you would have told me that back then, I would have laughed. Like, dude, no way in the world, like, that'll never happen.
Fuck, if you take me back to 1997, when I first got into Tenchi, when I was still in high school, before I even got into college, I remember buying the VHS tapes before DVD was really a thing. And if you told me that the woman who voices one of my favorite characters in all animation, I would be sitting eating sushi with her, drinking sake with her, and she would ask me, why Tenchi, I would not have believed you any day of the week when I was 17 years old. No way.
Even crazier was, she was into the conversation with everybody at that point. Like, she was talking with who is talking a little bit with An and Nova about some things, obviously talking to Chuck and Dagon, because she's known those guys and who for many a year. But it was one of that moment when she turns and asks me, she's like, so you were at my writing panel, and I want to hear about what you do exactly, like what you have to say in your writing. And that was one of those moments for me where I never meeting them. Yes, that's something that I figured that's not an impossibility, but actually sitting there and having a conversation with her about the kinds of things that I find important enough to talk about and make my life's work was just like, whoa. And then, after we talked about that, and she talked a little bit with Pi about his stuff as well, to go from that and already feeling like Jesus, this is way crazier than I ever could have imagined it. Yes, this just happened, as our theme continues. To have that bomb dropped where she just kind of looks up and just kind of scans the table and just goes, "Why Tenchi?" And we all had to sit there and think about it for a minute and just took our turns explaining to her like why the show was the way it was. Like, truth is stranger than fiction, man. Like, you can't make this up. In a way, it did feel kind of Hollywood. It felt greater than Hollywood because it was actually happening. And every single one of us at that table kind of understood all at once. Like, you know how crazy it is that we're here in the first place? And do you realize just how crazier it just got with her, with Ryoko, the voice of the character, sitting here asking us this question? My God, man.
Well, I was at a loss for words. I mean, how do I wrap up something that I've spent over 15 years of my life studying, dissecting, trying to understand, trying to theorize and speculate about? How do I wrap all of that not only academic understanding of the series, but also just my love of the series, of the characters, of how these different personalities have affected my maturation from age 17 to age 34, to the very woman who gave one of those characters life in this side of the pond. I don't think the words that I chose, even did it credit. I don't think any words I could have chose at that particular moment could have given credit. As sappy as that sounds.
No, this was it. It's weird how I only had to get some distance to really appreciate it, because I mean, I was just enjoying every second that I was in it and experiencing it, and I can't believe it. It's this will be a jewel that I will hang on to, no matter how many years go by, and whenever I need to summon it to remember good times with good people. And this was like Boss Man said, if you give me a microphone on this, I won't bore everyone, but I'm absolutely afterwards too. I was as sappy as maple tree about it. I was absolutely. This was. It wasn't just about checking off a list, or, oh, we did a panel, oh, we did a con, oh, we met up, or, this and that. Like, everything pretty much, well, aside from the comical things we mentioned, but really everything pretty much went off without a hitch, thankfully. So it was just entirely emotional, and in ways that I have difficulty articulating. So just like everybody here said, in their own individual way. It was kind of a long and often uphill climb to get there, but so worth it, 1,000 times over worth it.
So we stagger back to our hotel room and just kind of wind down and again go over that similar feeling of what was going on, and kind of just taking it all in. And I know at one point the sentiment was, could this be Groundhog Day? Could we just is tomorrow really the last day? Is all of this build-up, all of these amazing things that have happened, is the last day really here? But we woke up, and the last thing that we had to do on the list of things to do was the Q&A, or really the Matt and Patria panel, basically Q&A. And this was, again, a very momentous occasion, because this is the first time that they were at a con together. And again, you can see the panel itself on our YouTube channel. And it was just again soaking it all up. I will say though, one of the things as we kind of go into this is we can talk about the dealer's room a little bit.
Oh, the dealer's room was fun.
We ended up finding an Ayaka figure that he has put pictures up of on the forum. That was a cool find.
Completing his set.
I also thank you, Dagon, for fronting that, because you were my hero.
And then, of course, me and Crazed got a particular member of our forum a particular movie set on Blu-ray and DVD.
Bastard.
You deserve it.
All the guilt I feel.
And the love-hate continues between me and Crazed, because the son of a bitch bought me a limited edition Sailor Moon set.
Now you gotta buy all of them.
Indeed.
You need all the coins.
He started something that is going to be with me for a very long time.
And of course I got a Japanese Banjo-Kazooie, and so, of course, I don't even notice this, as we, jumping ahead a little bit before we get back, but, as we're leaving and we're getting food at a gas station to fill up, I ended up grabbing Code Red, Mountain Dew, and it's just like, oh, look at that. I remember a Cards Against Humanity game where somebody won by me picking Banjo-Kazooie and Code Red Mountain Dew.
It's fate.
Nice.
Oh,
All
yes.
part of the plan.
Let's talk about that gas station real quick, shall we, Neil?
I mean, we can get to that. We haven't quite left just yet.
Well, there's one more thing for the dealer's room, because the place where we found the Ayaka figure was loaded to the gills with vintage figures from numerous series, and I was squeeing. You guys had to peel me away from that guy.
I think you probably would have spent your entire bank account there if we hadn't just done something to pull you away.
I mean, Jesus Christ, the guy had fucking vintage G1 Transformers, and for those of you who aren't aware, that is kind of my other big fandom. Is Tenchi's my first love. Transformers is not that far behind, and they had G1 Megatron, they had G1 Soundwave. I was looking at that case drooling, going, "Do you take plastic?" And the guy said, "No." And I was like, oh, you could see my heart shatter in that moment, and then the gears start turning. How could I possibly make this work? I must have something. I must precious, yes. I just trying to figure out how to make this work. So through many machinations, needless to say, I did walk away with a Transformer before that day was over.
We had a lot of goodbyes there. The last thing we did before we left was the Matt and Patria combo panel. This was the last thing that we were going to do before we packed up and shipped out. And of course, obviously, there were just a ton of Tenchi fans there, and it was fantastic to get to run into some of them before we got to leave, and say our goodbyes to them. All of them very thankful for the stuff that we've done. Getting to say goodbye to Matt and Petrea. All of us getting a nice little farewell hug from Petrea as well. A lot of very emotional feelings going on there, because it was like that was the instance where we realized, like, that's it. Like, other than the hilariously long trip home, we're pretty much done. And it was. That was that moment where I was kind of in the bathroom and I was holding to hold back some tears a little bit. Like, I can't even break down when they're not here. Like, I gotta stay strong, because I knew it was coming to a close. But it was a fantastic weekend. Definitely just one of those moments, man. Just definitely got to throw a thank you to everybody who came to the panel. Wanted to throw shouts again to Rachel and her husband. Did we ever get his name?
Rachel's husband.
Dandy.
Yeah, it's Rachel's husband.
Well, we also had Jessica throw a lot of love that way, because she was also the founder of the DeviantArt page for Tenchi fans as well.
Yeah, Jessica and Ryan, they were there at that panel, so we got to say goodbye to them as we were wrapping up everybody. To all the people we ran into, to the guy in the front of the room. Oh, what was his name?
Dario.
Yeah, Dario. When we this guy was so enthusiastic. You'll see it in the panel video where he's just like, how can I give my soul to you guys? Like, he was a very enthusiastic guy. I had a pleasure. It was very fun talking to him as well. Thank you, sir, for that. These all the fans that we ran into, all the people who recognized us, all the people who didn't get to run into or talk to us, and Nova as well, because they were very cool people, and we're really glad that they decided to join us at the sushi place on Saturday. It was a lot of people who weren't just in this room talking right now who were involved that helped make that weekend something special. So I wanted to make sure that I acknowledged as many people's names I could possibly remember, and everybody else in there too. It would have still been amazing, but it wouldn't have nearly been as amazing without those of you who we talked to. And thank you for being there.
And the staff of Chibi Pa as well for hosting it.
Indeed, there was, a lot of thank yous that go out to all the good people who went to the panels, all of the staffers, Deb, the person who runs it, because originally our panel was in one room and then there was another panel in the other, and she had to switch it like an hour before, and things were getting down to, crunch time, and it ended up working out for the better, and it was a phenomenal experience. You know, even here, even talking an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, days about this experience and this convention, I still feel like there are no words that can really explain all of it, encapsulating the feeling that happened while we were there. And it was, and of course, I said it in private, and I'll say it here. I want to thank all of you guys for being a part of that, and being Tenchiforum, and us being Tenchiforum, and making that happen.
No problem, boss. That's what we're here for. We're here. All of us are here because we chose to be here. That this was the place that actually was lighting the fire for Tenchi and kept the fire burning until it came back. And baby, it's back.
Yeah, it was outstanding to get to meet everybody and share that weekend and just kind of do this thing. So this is my first con I've ever been to too, so I was really grateful that it was such a small one. But also, like, I could go to Otakon, I go to fucking Anime Expo. It's not even gonna come close to the experience that I had at Chibi Pa, and it wasn't just the guests, but it was these guys that helped make it that way, and it's impossible to replicate.
Indeed.
Which brings us to our own farewells, as sadly we did have to separate and ship out our separate ways shortly after their panel had finished.
Definitely not quite as enthusiastic going as it was coming, obviously, but we went out to some nice gas station food and timpani of Evangelion sending us on the road.
I'm thankful that things aligned to where not just leaving the hotel, because when we had that moment where we all got together and we were like, well done, gentlemen, and adios, and until next time. And yet, and there's that lingering moment where, like nobody wanted to leave, but eventually you four turned and went your way, and so I'm glad Pi was with me to be like, come on, man, just turn around and go. It's too painful. It's like a Band-Aid. Just do it quick. And so we got on the shuttle, and I was glad I could have somebody with me, and I could have Pi to talk to on the way there. And it ended up like at one point or another, it was either one of ours or the others on our layovers, or both at one point. They got delayed, so we're just chatting it up and catching up on in the airport, and then Pi has to go, well, farewell, goodbye, Pi, this was great. And then we actually meet up again, totally had no idea, in Dallas, and both of our flights, I think, but especially mine, got delayed like by a huge amount. I got into back home like 4 a.m. the next day, like way off schedule. But it was great that Pi ended up being there, and we had like 2 hours or 3 hours to kill, and so we just found the closest. It was like a Chili's or something like that, and we just got to get a meal and have some drink.
Oh, the plane fuckery was real that entire trip. I mean, I didn't get to talk about my flight over, but then again, it was very uneventful. However, the flight back, I mean, Who and I sat around in the airport at Florida for a while. We caught up. I showed him a couple episodes of watched him squee because it was delightful to watch it. We hadn't subbed those episodes yet. They were raw Japanese. So here we are, me and Who at a table in an airport on the post-security side. Here we are huddled around my laptop like two cavemen struggling for warmth, and here we are watching I Tenchi episodes 33 and 34, and we're like, dude, what about this? We could think about this. What if it's a show world? What if about this? And we had all this intellectual discussion about what the fuck was going on in the show, and that speculation continued until Who had to board his plane first, and I was like, I'll see you around, Who. Bye. My friend, come back here! No, he got on his plane. Then eventually, about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour later, I get on my plane. I fly over there, and we had already exchanged tickets and said, hey, well, okay, we'll be here and here and here. Well, wouldn't it be great if on the other side we happen to coincide and be in the same place for a part of the layover? Well, as Kismet would have, I fly in. Whose plane has been delayed by like 2-3 hours? mine got delayed as well as for another hour or so. So I text Who is like, hey Who, I'm here in Dallas. Where the hell are you? And he's like, I'm in a Chili's. Okay, let's do this. I go over there, we sit down, we talk writing over beer. He's already finished his burger. I get a burger, and we chat back and forth for a good bit of time. And then we look down at the watch. It's like, God damn, we have so much time to fucking kill. What are we gonna
I
do?
remember this might have been earlier on, but the way we had so much time and not having to deal with the medium of, like posts and the internet, which, I mean, it's great to have to help with those distances. But since we were right there, the exchange of ideas and building off of things was just like at a accelerated rate, the likes of which we had never had before with Tenchi stuff. So at one point, and then things got goofy where we're in, this crowded terminal waiting, and there's people all around. We don't care though. We got it on our laptop and we're watching, I don't remember if it's episode 33, 34 or something, but it was the Raw. Yeah, we had no subs yet. It was the one where I remember we started with the one where Benny is on the roof and Tenchi comes up, and each of us picks a character and we're dubbing it, improvising as we're going. I think this was like our second or third viewing, so we weren't like, because at first we wanted to just see it. Oh my god, what's happening? But then it got goofy, and that was that was pretty fun.
Oh, that was fun. I think I did Tenchi. I think you did Benny, and we were like badly like. I apologize for this, but very Chinese dubbing this. It's like very out of sync, completely out of character, completely out of context. It's like, well, I'm gonna kick your ass now, Tenchi. No, you don't want to do that.
And then Benny misses with her club or whatever at Tenchi's crotch, and you're just like, this camera angle, is this some sort of phallic reference? Yeah, probably on an abstract level. I don't know. Yeah, it was so fun.
It was, and but then I had to say goodbye to Who. It's like, bye Who, until we see you on the internet. I'll be on Mumble one day. Tear, friend.
Thank Washu for Mumble.
All this while we're on the road.
We actually stopped to get gas very first thing, as soon as we left the place, because we hadn't actually eaten breakfast. Like we sat through that panel on empty stomachs, and we're just like, oh god, we need to get something to go. So we drove over to a gas station, picked up some food, and while we were in there, the guys behind the counter overheard us talking a little bit, and basically like, yeah, where are you guys headed? We're like, we're going north. Like north, like north. What's north? I nod and go Maryland, and Chuck's like Virginia, and they just look at each other, and then they look at us, and they're like, "You're not driving, are you?" And we're like, "Yup." The look on their face.
It was pretty great.
They started singing On the Road Again and just kind of like air guitaring while they were checking us out. They were with us in that moment and understood the insane endeavor that we were about to embark upon. Thank you to those two fine gentlemen at that place. You made our morning. I think the food did too, but that definitely helped energize us a little bit.
Well, Dagon and Craze might argue about those crumbly burgers, but yeah, it was pretty good.
Me, I start eating mine, and it just like starts falling apart. And I'm looking up at Crazed, who's eating, and he literally takes one bite, and it's just like all in his lap. And I'm like, Crazed, if you want to like just put that in the floor, I don't care.
I touched it. I put my hand on it, went to pick it up, and like half of the bun just crumbled, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Crumbs all in my lap. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this?
But I mean, it was very cool. We talked, but it was also, somewhat somber.
Indeed.
Regaling all of the things that we went through.
Time felt like it was flying. I mean, it was like 9 hours, but it did not feel like it, and we were in North Carolina before we knew it. And then we made a crazy decision.
Yeah. Let's rewind a little bit to where we initially decided this was a good idea. We're pulling off of an exit because Craze is like, guys, I gotta go. So we're like, all right, fine. We'll pull out to the next exit and head to a gas station or convenience store or something. So we pull off of this thing, and it's like it's the difference between your ordinary sights and sounds, very late at night on I-95 to we are in Deliverance right fucking now. We are going to die. Like the place that we chose to pull towards was like this decrepit building, Craze goes in there and goes. Dagon gets out to go look around and do some stuff out there, stretch his legs and whatnot. And Chuck and I are just like, this is how we die. Like, they're not coming back out. We're going to get murdered in the parking lot of this place. So to try to take the edge off of each other, I finally just say, so you know what I was thinking? I was thinking maybe it would be better for us time-wise to just keep going once we get to Craze's place and just book it all the way to Virginia. And yeah, Chuck was like, I agree. Like, we should. I was thinking that, but I didn't want to be the one to suggest it because how crazy it was. And honestly, it's probably the best decision we could have made because I-95, as Chuck will tell you, is the East Coast parking lot. That fucker can get so bumper to bumper that we would have just lost our shit having to deal with that. So I thought to myself, look, how often you get the chance to do 90 on I-95? Not very often at all. Let's do it. So, you know, when we got to Craze in Carolina, Craze's dad was like, no, y'all taking some sleep. I'm not going to let you do that. But we insisted. So he made us some coffee and we set upon it. Another 6.5, 7 hours of driving to get all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina to fucking
But
Williamsburg.
you forgot about how we got lost in South Carolina for a little while, and that other gas station
Oh
with
my
the
God, yeah.
automated voice. It was like, come inside.
Oh, I did forget
Dude.
that.
Yeah, fuck those kind of pumps. I hate those pumps.
We're sitting there, and by the way, South Carolina at night is the scariest fucking thing in the world. But we go and we have to fill up on gas because we're starting to get low, and this is bumfuck South Carolina, so we have no idea. And so we get off on this exit. There's nobody. It's dark except for one light over this gas station. And it's Crazed turn. He gets out and he starts pumping gas. And me and Nil and Chuck are sitting inside, and I hear this voice from the outside say, "Come on in, partner, and get you some gas." And of course, I'm thinking, "Oh fuck, there's somebody outside. We're gonna get."
I mean,
fucking
all
mugged."
you guys were in the van. I was the only one outside pumping the fucking gas. I heard that and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to fight somebody. Like, I'm just standing here at like, fucking, I don't even remember what time it was, like 2 a.m, middle of nowhere, South Carolina. And I hear that and I'm just like, all right, somebody's about to put a gun to my head.
And then as we're driving back, slightly obscured, and we're noticing like there's a ton of cars on the side of the road, and Chuck's slowing down because he's like, I don't want to get pulled over. They're just dead cars everywhere.
It is a graveyard, man. Like every 5-10, there were almost as many pulled over dead cars on the side of the road as there were Waffle Houses, and that's a fucking lot. What is wrong with you people? My God.
But yeah, that's what would eventually lead us into the idea of going from North Carolina to Williamsburg, Virginia in one go, which was fun in and of itself as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you didn't have to drive the damn thing.
Oh my
So
God.
just some context for the listeners here. I had driven from Jacksonville up to Charlotte, so that was already like 6 hours. And then to immediately then do another 6 hours on top of that, I was feeling it, Mr. Krabs, by the time we got to Virginia.
It was about 18.5 hours of driving to get from where we were all the way to Virginia. Just straight, pretty much. Like, we had a few small breaks. Even the dinner we had in Jacksonville was like 20 minutes.
I specifically remember when we were going back, Chuck is leaning back in the chair really far, and me and Nil are starting to look at the gas gauge, and it's just like, Chuck, we're starting to run out of gas. We need some gas. He was like, no, that's fine. We'll be fine. I'm like, okay. And of course, Nil's freaking out more than I am, but I'm just watching it. I'm like, we're getting real close. We're getting real close. Man, I hope there's a gas station around the corner.
Fucking Chuck's sitting there white knuckling it, trying to stay awake. He's like, no, I want to at least get to the Beltway. I at least want to get there before we get any gas. Just don't worry, guys. He was gone. Like, the look in his face, like it got a little terrifying towards the end too, because not only was the gas station bit, like, we're all so tired. It was like, no, please let's not have any incidents. Let's just get home. But then very, very, very end of the drive, like the last half hour or so, the sun was that just perfect point where it was shining off of the road so that we couldn't like just lower down the little sun blinds and then get the sun out of our eyes. Like it was shining off of the tarmac into our faces. I was just like, oh God, this is where we die. Like the sun is going to kill us on this trip. It wasn't it wasn't the ghost at the gas station. It wasn't at the convenience store that might as well have come out of Deliverance. It wasn't anything down in Florida, all the dozens of the road signs and all that fun stuff. No, it's going to be the sun is going to murder us before we can get to Chuck's place.
Yeah, that was special. Imagine, if you will, dear viewers, a fully crowded interstate at about 8 in the morning or 7 in the morning. Sun is just peeking up over the ridge, and literally you're surrounded by 18-wheelers, and everyone on this road is going 70 miles an hour, and everyone's blind. That was fun.
And we're all sleep deprived by close to 24 hours.
Yeah, that was special. But we made it, and we all lived, and I got to go to class on time. I don't remember any of it because I was so sleep deprived, but I made it.
And me and Nil kind of took a very, I transferred over the video stuff from Chuck's mini thing. I can't think of the word right now. Yeah, SD card, yeah. And so I do that, I go to bed, me and Nil wake up, kind of stir ourselves, and head back to Maryland. You could kind of sort of feel it too, like, I mean, obviously once we left Pi and Who, we were kind of like, man, this, they're not here anymore, we can't talk to them anymore. But I think, I don't know about you guys, Chuck and Nil, but once we left Crazed, it was like, oh man, this is real, like, we're done, like, it's over. And then with Chuck, and it's just me and Nil, and we drive. Me and Nil get there at like 6 or 7 in the afternoon.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking every time we had to divide a part of the group off. We had to lose Who and Pi pretty much at the hotel. So it was already kind of like, shit, like, no, this is really happening. But we still had most of the group together, so, we were able to keep morale high. We lost Craze. There was still a lot of joking. Sleep depravity definitely kind of helped us take our minds off the fact that was real, because it was more like, fuck, we're tired. I got some mad road hypnosis. I think I fell asleep in the front seat like 5 or 6 times while Chuck was just like barely staying awake over there. You finally get to Chuck's place. He goes to class. We wake up like 15 minutes after he's in class, and Daga and I just kind of agree, like, let's just go. It's time to go. Gets to the ride there. It was a good ride, but it was so quiet because we could have talked about so many things, but unlike the energy that we had going to it when he first pulled up to my place and we realized that it was now beginning, that was the point in the back of my mind where I realized like it was going to be over, and all we had was another 2 hours in that car, and then the carnival was done. And I felt kind of frozen for the first time all weekend because I really didn't know what to talk about, what to say. We occasionally perked up with a little bit of discussion, talking about some different things, some things I read online that we didn't really have time to talk about while we were at the con because so much stuff was happening. But it was just a quiet ride. Like, what do you say at the end of this? It's impossible. And as you've seen by surely the length of this podcast, there was just so much that happened that by the end of it, it was just like, how do you end that, man? Like there is no proper stay gold sign off on that. And it was weird getting back home and watching Dagon pull off. We got there about 6 o'clock, so it was right around dinner time here. And I didn't feel hungry. I just wanted to go back. I just wanted to like run after the van, just be like, fuck it, call everybody, let's go back to Florida. The party's not over yet. I wanted nothing more than that Groundhog Day thing that we talked about. Just can every day be that again?
As I was pulling away, I started to get choked up, and I was just like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to leave this. I want to, that wasn't just a good con experience. That was an amazing life experience. It was just like, I don't want that to ever end. And so, you know, when I finally did end up pulling away, I broke down and started crying. Legit. It was just like, holy shit. Like, the amount of stress that I was under going into this, you know, going into the weekend, or really going into Wednesday, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, was just unreal. And then for all of that to just kind of disappear for a brief moment in time, and, you know, all of the amazing stuff, and the I'm Daryl and fuck shit fuck, and you know, meeting Patria and Matt and having, you know, an amazing panel and doing everything that we wanted to do times 10 was just, it all hit me at one time. And I kind of had to sit there and realize that this is it. Like, this is the final stretch until I got home. And you know, I'd say that's right about where it ended. You know, that was Tenchiforum takes Chibi Pa.
And what a journey it
Yeah,
was.
I'll tell you this. When I got back Monday night, it was 1 a.m. here in San Marcos, and I was looking at the clock going, fuck, I gotta go to my office in about 7 hours. I don't want to go to my office. I want to go back to where the fun stuff was happening. Why do I have to go sit in my office and wait on students? Because really, it was a momentous occasion. We got to do everything as neighbor. It was. You guys keep telling me that don't expect this from your first. This is my first con. Not every con's like this, and I'm like, why can't every con be like this? It's supposed to be a fun time, right?
I'll tell you what though, every con is like that when you have friends there.
You know, I made the statement at one point during the con, is like the Beatles song, I get by with a little help from my friends. And I was almost a little bit jealous of Nil and Pi and Crazed. It was just like, this is your first con experience. This was unreal. Like, you know, cons can be an amazing thing, especially when you're with your friends, but this con in particular was just like, it's like it was said before, like, I could go to Otakon again, I could go to AX, I could go to, you know, all of these really big, ultra, 40,000 people, but you don't need 40,000 people to have a good con.
Indeed. And you know what? It was really cool because at almost every turn, it didn't feel like it was just us. It felt like we had all of Tenchi fandom with us. It felt like we had all of you, the listeners, all of the people that we've met on Facebook and on the forum and who watch our YouTube channels. Like, it felt like you were all there with us at several different points along the entire journey. And that was the really cool part, where we really understood that we were repping Tenchi fandom as a whole. And it was a really cool experience to be able to do that for all of you.
Well, again, the only time I've ever had a chance to meet another Tenchi fan was when I met Cathard in San Diego, when I went for a mathematics conference. I was there for a professional conference, but turns out I mentioned on Facebook, and Cathard poked me and said, "Hey, you're going to be in the area. Why don't we meet up and have a lunch sometime?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I mean, I'd known the guy since I was like 18 or 19. And finally I get to meet him in person when I'm 33. So, I mean, that was a long time coming, but to get to see you guys only 4 years into, 2 years, something like that, I actually meet you guys that quickly, and being able to just say, you know what, let's do this thing, and being able to just throw down at this con, that was great.
And yeah, but before I forget, I did along the, of course, same sentiments you guys were all saying and chiming in, even about, I'll share the sentiments about South Carolina and the burgers, even though I've experienced neither myself. But anyway, you know, about especially what Chuck was saying about, you know, just for our own personal stuff. I think for each of us individually, but also Tenchiforum in all its previous incarnations and stuff. It's a labor of love, and we love doing it. So anyway, just for again, everybody we met in person, and everybody who's ever tuned in, who's ever commented, whoever, you know, ever chatted with on the forum or anything of the sort, thank you, because that's the kind of thing, especially all culminating to this convention. It gave us, I was saying this with Dagon afterwards, that really, like, I didn't realize it till it was done how much like I needed that. I think we needed that. We were just recharged from that, and so here we are, you know, through the power of, I think, largely, you know, Tenchi fandom as a whole, keeping the series alive. It's culminated to a new series. We have a new Tenchi series going on right now, and who knows where that'll lead in the future. So just thank you everybody who's kept Tenchi going, and we hope that whether it's the Tenchicast or anything else that we do, we hope to keep doing right by the fandom, and keep providing quality content and entertaining you guys along the way, even when we do ramble and get a little emotional. But I hope you'll forgive us. We love doing this, and we love you guys for listening. Thank you. It makes it worthwhile.
Is that everybody's final word?
Fuck the Redskins.
Fuck shit.
I'll throw
fuck.
that in there somewhere.
Keeping Tenchi alive for the next 10 years.
Well, I would say that wraps it up. That wraps up that amazing, excellent adventure. Tenchiforum takes Chibi Pa. And unlike ending it normally, I will say that the carnival comes and goes, but when you're with Tenchiforum, the carnival never really goes away. Stay gold.